Culture is dynamic, and that's the thing that we all have to understand. It's not that culture is static. If you look at an organization over time, it changes with the people. It changes with the way in which people behave. And you can have an organization that is, in one time frame with one set of leadership is behaving in a way that you would think of as completely ethical, and you just change a couple of dynamics, a pressure point, individuals, different types of things, and then that entire culture changes. And if you have a culture that is completely kind of a bad culture, bad ethical culture, we also have to be careful to understand that those things don't change overnight. The culture is kind of the deep roots of a tree. It's not the branches, and you can't just whack off a branch and think that you can put a new branch on and it's going to look pretty. It's really about how do you get rid of some of those rotten roots? How do you really transform those roots to be something that's healthy for the tree to grow and thrive?
Auditing culture, or even just understanding culture, is hard. How do we address culture? And I think it's a challenge. There's the explicit stuff that you can look at. What's going on? How is your HR function operating around how you hire employees, how you terminate employees, how you reward employees properly, how you compensation, etc. The underlying things, I think, are the things that are harder for the auditors to get their arms around. I don't know if either of you have sort of experience in how you've approached looking at culture.
I like to just ask people. Doing an ethical survey of your employees will tell you a lot about the culture. I think we fool ourselves if we think that we can look at the way a policy is written or the way a process is working in the organization and think that just by its nature of existing is effective. What you have to do is really continually be out there and kind of get the pulse of the people. We need to ask people continually, how's it going? You can have kind of an ethics box that sits at a front entrance or by a cafeteria or something, and have kind of an ethics question of the week kind of thing, and have some chips or things of different colors so people agree or disagree. So I think the leaders in my business are trustworthy. Put the chip in, and but things where you can keep your finger on the pulse of the organization. Those are the kinds of things that we need to do, because we really fool ourselves into a false sense of security if we think we could just look at processes, policies, and the way things operate and conclude, because it's about the people.
And I'm glad you mentioned policies and procedures, because that's kind of, as not in the organization, someone coming in because something's happened, that's one of the things I'm always interested in. What are the written policies and procedures? What are the verbal policies and procedures? That's your culture. That gap is your culture. And I think you can learn a lot by what the difference is and how you got to where you are today. So that's where I usually focus on. I think your ideas are great, especially with the keeping it top of mind. Again, driving this every day, that it is important to us. It is a key cornerstone to who we are and how we become successful.